When you encounter into a fight, there are only 3 places for all of us to go if we encounter a fight. Hospital, jail, funeral. These are the 3 places for us to go if we encounter into a fight. Right? It's all because of reacting quickly, so fast that we cannot control. So we need to change that. Instead of react right away, we take a deep breath. Like what we did earlier. Take a deep breath, feel our chest, feel our heartbeat, right? When you take a deep breath, you will calm yourself down. When your mind is calm, you will not react like before anymore. In our Vietnamese, we have a process. Before you say something, roll your tongue 7 times. Roll it 7 times. So to be sure that whatever you want to say, it has to be beautiful. Cannot be hurtful. Think twice before we say it. That's what it means. But we are not mindful enough to see all those things. When somebody shouts at us or yells at us or curses at us, we are not mindful enough to come back within to manage that emotion. That is the most difficult things right there. In order for you to roll your tongue, to think twice, you have to have mindfulness. And mindfulness is something that is practicing with everyday life activities within our breath. Breathing is something that we all have as a being. Without breathing, we die. But we are breathing right now, isn't it? But seems like we died a long time ago. You know why? Because we just breathe and breathe just like a robot, like a machine. We never pay attention to our breath. Barely pay attention to our breath. Earlier, you hold your heart. You feel your heartbeat. How many times in our life that we actually did that? No? Very few? It's our heart. That's your life. But you couldn't even recognize it. You don't even know it's beating fast or slow. You don't even know. Your breath going in long or short, you don't even know. Just breathe to survive. Just take the air in and out to survive. That's all we did for so long. Now is the time for us to come back within, to look into each and every breath. Because there will be time that you have to fight for it. All of us will have to fight for each and every breath for our life. That is when we are about to die. At that moment, you will realize how important it is, those breaths, how important it is. But it's too late. Because we don't have the habit of coming back within to look at our breath. Even if you know how to come back with your breath, you cannot stay focused. When we cannot stay focused, it means that we are not living in this present moment here and now. But this is what we really need, is here and now, this present moment. So for us to practice that, we have to practice every day to build a new habit. To build a new habit. And in order for us to have a new habit, we have to practice continuously within 64 days non-stop. Even after 64 days, that new habit is still new. If you don't continue, it will go back to the old habit again. Let's say if you set your alarm to get up at 5 a.m. every day, there will be time you are very tired, sleep late. And then when the alarm goes off, You say, oh, I was so tired, I slept late last night. I went to bed late, so it's okay, I'll take a nap. I'll get up within 5 minutes, 5 hours later. Right? I'm telling you, that bed's going to grow arms and legs to grab you down if you snooze that alarm. That's human being laziness. We cannot fight with ourselves. That is why there's a quote saying, if we win the war, we go to the war, fight. If we win 1,000 times, it's not even compared to we win ourselves just one time. It's because our mind, it's not that we lazy, it's our mind is cheating us. We don't want to be lazy, but our mind is always acting up, it's always cheating us. The mind is very important. That's why I say the mind is like a wild animal. It's very difficult to put it under control. Very hard. We always want to be a better person. We always want to be good and do a lot of things. But because of tiredness, and the mind is talking with the brain, oh, it's okay, it's cold out there, it's okay, I will comfort you, just rest. That's the mind and the brain talking together like that every day. Every time when we have that kind of laziness, that thought, second thought about waking up, just those thoughts. And this is when we need to learn how to manage our emotion, how to be mindful with our everyday life activities. All those activities in life, like I mentioned, when you eat, just mindful with eating. When you go to the toilet, mindful with it. When you drink, when you change, when you go driving, when you go to the market, anything, just be mindful with one thing only. And then within this breath, now we come back to the breathing. One day, we should have time for ourselves, right? We should. We can make time. If you can make time for yourself in the morning, during the day, at night time, just to sit down and then focus on our breathing. Focus in our breathing, breathe in and then breathe out. Instead of just breathe, now we add awareness to it. Add the awareness to each and every breath going in and out. Just like a gatekeeper sitting right here by the nostril, seeing who go in and who's go out. And that gatekeeper knows who go in and who go out. That's all. Just aware of that breath going in and out, without forcing our breath. Just let it go in and out naturally. And then when we breathe in, we breathe out, our mind pop up with thoughts. All those trash that I mentioned earlier, all those unhappy things, undesirable things, it will pop up. When it pop up, for most of us, we don't have the habit of bringing our concentration back to this present moment. We follow all those thoughts until the end, and we imagine more things to it. We added more things to that thought. And that's why we cannot stay at this present moment. So now instead of following the thoughts, which is the monkey, I call monkey mind. When that monkey mind pop up, we should just acknowledge it. Observe that thought, or I have thought. Acknowledge that we have thought by saying silently 3 times, thought, 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 come back here with the breathing. This is how we bring our concentration back to this present moment with the breathing in and out. And then breathe in, breathe out, another thought pop up. Now we acknowledge it, come back here again. Come back, come back, come back at the breathing. That's all we need to do. When you hear noise, when you hear anything, just acknowledge those as sound, 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 come back here. Sensation, feelings on this physical body. On maybe you feel like insect crawling on your face. That is not something that crawling on your face. It's just because when you focus, then that sensation will rise. Just acknowledge it's itchy, 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 come back here. numb here, acknowledge it, and come back here. That's how we train ourselves to have a new habit of coming back and concentrate on one thing. One thing, which is the breathing, right? We train ourselves to have more focus and concentration. If we can do this every day, you will become a different person.
In the quiet moments of a busy life, we rarely consider that we are standing at a perpetual crossroads. Yet every interaction we have contains a hidden map leading toward three very different destinations. When we allow ourselves to be swept up in the heat of a conflict, when the adrenaline surges and the ego takes the driver's seat, the paths before us narrow significantly. We are often moving so fast that we don't see the signs pointing toward the hospital, the jail, or the funeral home. These are the somber, heavy realities of a life lived in reaction. A life where the spark of an insult meets the dry kindling of our own unrest. To love life deeply is to recognize that these three destinations are not just metaphors, they are the tangible costs of losing our way. Choosing peace is not a passive act of weakness, but a radical act of self-preservation and love. It begins with the simple, jarring realization that we have a choice before the fire starts. It is an invitation to look at our lives not as a series of battles to be won, but as a precious, fragile gift that can be shattered by a single moment of unbridled anger. By acknowledging the gravity of our reactions, we begin to value the sanctuary of our own presence. We start to see that no grievance is worth the price of our freedom or our health. This is where the journey to a more vibrant, cherished existence begins. At the moment we decide that our peace is more important than our pride. This shift from a reactive life to a responsive one is captured beautifully in an old piece of Vietnamese wisdom. Before you say something, roll your tongue 7 times. It sounds simple, perhaps even a bit whimsical, but it is a profound technology for the soul. In the space it takes to roll your tongue 7 times, the biology of your body undergoes a transformation. You move out of the fight or flight center of the brain and back into the seat of your humanity. That tiny pause is where your freedom lives. It is the moment you decide that whatever comes out of your mouth must be beautiful. Or at least, it must not be hurtful. In our fast-paced American culture, we are often rewarded for the quick retort and the sharp wit. But we rarely calculate the debt those words leave behind. When someone yells or curses at us, our instinct is to shout back, to match their volume and their venom. But mindfulness asks us to do something much more courageous, to come back within. In that pause, we take a deep breath. We feel the air expanding our chest and the rhythm of our own heartbeat. By the time we have rolled our tongue and felt our breath, the urge to strike back has softened. We realize that we don't have to be a mirror for someone else's pain. We can be a reservoir of our own calm. Thinking twice is not about hesitation. It is about ensuring that our contribution to the world is one of light rather than shadow. As we learn to pause, we start to notice a startling truth. Most of us have been living like highly efficient robots. We move through our days, ticking off checklists, driving through traffic, and even breathing. Yet we aren't truly there. We breathe to survive, but we aren't breathing to be alive. There is a tragic irony in the fact that the very thing keeping us on this earth, our breath, is often the thing we ignore the most. We treat our bodies like machines that just need to be fueled and maintained, failing to recognize the miracle occurring in every second. Have you ever stopped to actually hold your heart? Have you felt that steady, tireless drumbeat that has been working for you since before you were born? Most of us can count on one hand the number of times we've truly acknowledged our own heartbeat. We don't know if our heart is beating fast or slow. We don't know if our breath is long or short. We are like the walking dead, moving through a beautiful world with our eyes turned inward toward our anxieties. Awakening from this robotic trance requires us to reclaim our biological rhythm. It's about more than just oxygen. It's about intimacy with our own existence. When we finally pay attention to the breath, we stop being a machine and start being a human being again. We realize that life isn't something that happens to us in the future. It is the very air moving through our lungs right now. To maintain this connection, we can imagine a gatekeeper sitting at the entrance of our nostrils. This gatekeeper doesn't judge, they simply watch. They see the breath go in, and they see the breath go out. This is the fundamental practice of awareness, training ourselves to be the observers of our own life. As the gatekeeper, you begin to notice the quality of your energy. You see how a stressful thought makes the breath shallow and jagged, and how a moment of gratitude makes it deep and smooth. You don't have to force the breath to be anything other than what it is. You just have to know that it's happening. This simple act of monitoring the entrance and exit of your life force creates a sanctuary. When the trash of the world, the unhappy memories, the undesirable news, the petty grievances, tries to rush in, the gatekeeper is there. Most of the time, we aren't mindful enough to see these things coming. We let every wandering thought take us on a long, exhausting journey away from the present. We follow our thoughts to the very end, imagining worst-case scenarios and adding layers of drama to things that haven't even happened. But with the gatekeeper on duty, we can simply note, oh, a thought is passing. We don't have to follow it into the woods. We stay at the gate. We stay with the breath. We stay home. Of course, the mind does not like to stay home. It is often described as a wild animal or a monkey mind, swinging from branch to branch, constantly seeking distraction. It's important to understand that your mind isn't trying to be your enemy. It's just doing what it was evolved to do. It cheats us with laziness and convinces us to stay in the comfort of our old, reactive habits. It tells us it's too cold to go for that walk, or that we are too tired to sit in silence. This is the internal war that is much harder to win than any external battle. To win 1,000 wars in the outside world is nothing compared to winning against yourself just once. But winning here doesn't mean suppressing the mind with force. It means managing our emotions with a gentle, persistent hand. When the monkey mind pops up with a distracting thought, we don't punish it. We acknowledge it. We can even say silently to ourselves, thought, 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 and then gently lead the mind back to the breathing. It's like training a puppy. If the puppy wanders off, you don't beat it. You just pick it up and put it back on the mat. Over and over again. This process of acknowledging and returning is the secret to focus. Whether it's an itchy sensation on your face or a loud noise in the street, you simply note it, itchy, itchy, or sound, and come back. This is how we train ourselves to be the masters of our own internal house, rather than guests at the mercy of our moods. This training isn't a one-time event. It is the slow, steady work of building a new architecture for our lives. We are creatures of habit, and our old habits of stress and reaction are deeply etched into our nervous systems. To build a new habit, a habit of peace, requires a commitment that spans at least 64 days of non-stop practice. Even then, the habit is still new and fragile. If we stop, we naturally gravitate back to the old ways of being. Think about the simple act of setting an alarm for 5 in the morning. The first few days, you are determined, but eventually, a night comes where you stay up late, and when the alarm goes off, the mind begins its clever negotiations. It's okay. I'm tired. I'll just sleep 5 more minutes. But as we all know, those 5 minutes often turn into 5 hours. It's as if the bed grows arms and legs to hold us down. This is the human laziness that mindfulness helps us overcome. By showing up for our breath every single day, we are casting a vote for the person we want to become. We are telling ourselves that our peace is worth the effort of discipline. After those 64 days, the path starts to become smoother. The new habit begins to take root, and we find that we are no longer fighting ourselves as much. We become people who naturally choose the pause over the scream, and the breath over the bite. As this internal peace grows, it inevitably begins to spill over into our external world, creating a beautiful ripple effect. Peace is not something we can find out there. It always begins within the individual. When you are at peace, Your family is at peace. They no longer have to walk on eggshells around your frustrated or saddened face. They get to bask in the warmth of your presence. From the family, this energy spreads to your neighbors, your coworkers, and eventually, your entire society. But to make this peace a reality, we need tools that bridge the gap between our intentions and our actions. One of the most powerful tools is the simple act of writing. Every morning, when your mind is still fresh and hasn't yet picked up the trash of the day's worries, take a piece of paper and a pen. Write down a simple statement. Today is going to be my peaceful day. There is a specific magic in the physical connection between the mind, the hand, and the paper. Simply thinking the thought isn't strong enough. The mind is too slippery. But when you write it, see it with your eyes, and then state it out loud to the universe, you are setting a profound intention. You are declaring your sovereignty over your own day. You are telling the world that no matter what storms may come, your internal weather is already decided. In the end, we must remember that we will all one day face a moment where we have to fight for every single breath. When we are at the edge of life, the importance of a single inhalation will become crystal clear. In that moment, we would give everything we own for just one more breath. The tragedy of the human condition is that we often wait until it is too late to realize the value of the air in our lungs. But we don't have to wait. We can choose to value it now. We can choose to stop fighting the world and start cherishing the miracle of being here. By practicing mindfulness, by rolling our tongues, by watching our gates, and by writing our intentions, we are learning how to truly live before we die. We are moving away from the hospitals, the jails, and the funerals of our own making, and moving toward a life that is vibrant, compassionate, and deeply, authentically peaceful. Every breath is a new beginning. Every heartbeat is a second chance. Let this be the moment you come back home to yourself.